Hello everyone, let's start in chapter 17. So the chapter about infectious diseases affecting the nervous system. So the section 1 is about the structure of the nervous system. So the nervous system includes central nervous system and the peripheral nervous system. So the central nervous system are the central nervous system is the brain and the spinal cord. So the peripheral nervous system includes all the nerve fibers and the ganglions. Uh, so in the body. So based on the function of the nervous system, so we can classify the nervous system to three categories. So the first is the sensory nervous system. Sensory nervous system includes the sensory receptors and the nerve fibers. So the sensory receptors are the receptors for the physical signals such as cold, hot, vibration, and body position. So the receptors can record the signals for those physic parameters. So once the receptors, sensory receptors can be considered as the transmitter. So they can transmit the physical signal to the to the electronic impulse signals. And then so they can send the electronic impulse through the peripheral nervous fibers through the nervous fibers to the central nervous system. So the second is the integrative system. Integrative system actually is the brain. Because the electronic impulse will be translated by the brain to the thoughts. So our human can know. So once our hands touch a heart so the heart objective. So once our hands touch the heart object, so our brain can know. So that's heart because the signal is transferred to our brain, and our brain translates the meaning of that signals. So once we know that's heart, so we have to do something, right? So the brain will send the brain will send the signals through the motor signals to the motor organs such as the muscles and glands. For example, so we have feel the object is very hot, right? So our brain will send signals through the motor nervous fibers to reach to the muscles on the hands. So the muscles can contract then, so we can move our hands from the objective to avoid the burning. Okay, so this is motor nervous system. So the motor nervous system receives signals from central nervous system and transfer these signals to the locomotive organs such as muscles and glands. So all the So the nervous system actually is made of the neuron. Okay, so the neuron actually is the nervous cells. Okay, is nervous cells. So the nervous actually so the neuron is defined as the cell body of the neuron cell. So, so the neuron can receive and transmit the signals to and from the central nervous system or and the peripheral nervous system. So the brain is situated inside of the skull. Okay, so the brain actually is made of all kinds of neurons. Okay, spinal cord is in the uh, spinal column surrounded by the vertebra. Okay. So there are actually spinal cord is made of the uh, uh, actions of the neurons. Also, so spinal cord also contains some neurons. Mm. So so the nervous system actually is covered by a membrane. This is called meninges. Okay, meninges. So meninges have three layers. Okay, three layers. So from outside to inside, so the outermost layer is dural matter. Dural matter. Dural matter is the outermost layer, and then is arachnoid matter. So the so the so the third layer is the pia matter. Pia matter is tightly attached to the nervous system. So between the arachnoid matter and pia matter, so there is a space is called subarachnoid space. So this space is filled with the cerebral spinal fluid. So this space is very important, okay, because if the patient have the disease of the nervous system, so we need make a diagnosis. So we need to make a diagnosis. So we have to um, uh, drink some cerebral spinal fluid to test. So we can make a vertebral puncture to get the fluid from subarachnoid space. Okay. Also, if the patient has infections, so we need administer some medications. So we can also inject the medication to this space. As what we can see in this image. So so the outermost is the dural matter, okay, and then we have the arachnoid matter. So the third is the pia matter. So this is the subarachnoid space, okay. So this is in brain. So this is in the spinal cord. So in the spinal cord we also have such structures. Okay, spinal subarachnoid space. So we can make a vertebral puncture here to drain some cerebral spinal fluid. Cerebral spinal fluid is very important for the nervous system because it can because this fluid contains glucose, proteins, and a few and a few immunocells, okay, such as neutrophil, so the lymph cells. So they can provide nutrients because it contains glucose and proteins, okay, can provide the nutrients. And so since this is fluid, so it provides the liquid cushion, okay, for the brain and the spinal cord. For example, so when we run, right, when we jump, when we run, so that will cause the vibration of our body, okay. So uh, so there is maybe there is and so the vibration uh, can cause the nervous system breathe on the hard bone tissues, right? However, there are since cerebrospinal fluid is feeding between the nervous system and the bone surface, so it can decrease the friction between the nervous system and the bone surface to prevent nervous system injury, right? Since it also contains a few immune cells, so it also can protect the nervous system against the infections. However, if the meninges is infected, so we can find microorganism in this fluid. Now let's talk about the peripheral nervous system. Peripheral nervous system is made of the nerves and the ganglia. Okay, ganglia. So it's specific for the PNS. Ganglia actually is the swelling structures. Uh, so structures in the peripheral nervous system. Normally, so those are the swelling structure for the neuron. Okay, neuron. So the nervous cells body. Okay, neuron. So because the cell body of the neuron is very big, so many neurons stay together, so they can make a swelling structure. So this is called a ganglion. Okay. So the nerve fibers, so there's a bundle of the axon. Okay, axon. So they can reach to our peripheral organs such as the muscles, the other organs such as the liver, uh, stomach, and pancreas. So they can also reach to the central nervous system such as the brain and spinal cord. Okay. So actually, so the neuron contains axon and dendrites. Okay. So the axon can contact one neuron's axon can contact the dendrites of the adjacent neurons. Okay, through the synapse. So since these two neurons are connected together, so they can communicate with each other through the synapse. Actually, the communication is mediated through the neurotransmitter. Neurotransmitter is released in the space of a synapse, so they can communicate with each other. So the defense of the nervous system. So as what we can see, so the central nervous system actually uh, uh, is actually covered by the bone structure. Okay, so this is the bony casting. Okay, such as the skull and the vertebral. So the chain of vertebral body. Okay, so those bones provide the physical protection for the central nervous system to prevent from injury. Okay. Also, cerebrospinal fluid provide the cushion. Okay. So, however, the third most important protection is the blood-brain barrier. So, so the nervous system actually is interviewed with tons of capillaries because, for example, so the brain consume 5% of the oxygen and nutrients of our body. Okay, so that's a lot. Things, however, so the blood, even the blood vessels are interweaved in the brain. However, there is a tight barrier between the brain and the blood vessels. So this is the tight junction between the endothelial cells of the capillaries. So this tight junction cannot also, so the endothelial cells of the capillary in the brain is very tight. So there are no holes on those cells. So both the epithelial cells and tight junctions make the blood-brain barrier. So this barrier will prohibit most particles, microorganisms, and antibodies to get into the nervous system. So only the small nutrients particles like glucose and water, oxygen can get into, So why the blood-brain barrier exists in the nervous system? Because the central nervous system is a very precious organs. Okay, so they cannot allow the because they cannot allow the information happened in the central nervous system. That's why they have to prohibit all the immunes. So the immunes. So all the immune system had to be prohibited, prevented to get into, such as immune cells, T cells, and B cells, and all kinds of immune antibodies. So the barrier don't allow those to get into the central nervous system. Because only because only minor immune response will cause damage or harm to the central nervous system. So since there are no immune system in the central nervous system, so how the central nervous system protect themselves? So if the microorganism invade the central nervous system, actually there are specific nervous system is called microglia, okay, and brain macrophage. Actually, so the microglia, because scientists have found that microglia share many common characteristics as macrophage. Okay, microglia has the capacity of the phagocytosis. Okay, so they can eat the huge size particles. Okay, so they can eat the microorganisms or even the other damaged cells. So they can eliminate those harmful stuff to protect the central nervous system. However, so its activities is lower the compared to the other phagocytic cells in our bodies, actually, because because the central nervous system actually is the immunology free organs. Okay. So now let's work on this question. Which of the following defenses of the nervous system prevents certain molecules from passing into brain and spinal cord tissues? I give you 5 seconds. Okay, so A, actually, so A is just the physic protection, right? Physical protection for the nervous system. Microglia, so this is phagocytosis, so it's not cerebral spinal fluid actually it provide nutrients and prevent the friction, right? So the correct answer is D, blood-brain barrier. Now let's work on section 2. So the biota of the nervous system. So actually until now, so the scientists still believe that so there is no normal biota in the nervous system, okay? Because the nervous system is very precious organs, so it cannot allow the inflammation happen there. Okay, it cannot let the bacteria stay there and the immune cells stay there because those cells functions will damage the nervous system, right? So if we found the microorganism in the nervous system, that means so that's a state of disease of the nervous system. Okay, so that's not a healthy state anymore. Okay, for example, herpes can live in the ganglions of the peripheral nervous system. Okay, so actually, so the herpes is not considered as the biota. Okay, it's not considered as the biota. Once the herpes lived in the ganglions, so the patient actually have the disease. They have the herpes. Okay, they have disease of the herpes infections. So once their immune system activities decrease, so those herpes can come out. Okay, cause pain, rash, or even damage of the nerves. Okay. So, however, scientists have found that so the microbe in the GI tract can influence the nervous system. Okay. So maybe they can transmit some cytokines to the nervous system, or some microbes can invade the nervous system. However, for the healthy people, so there is no microbe in the nervous system. So now let's work on this question. Dormant herpes virus live in the nervous system are considered as normal flora. So I'll give you 5 seconds. So the correct answer is B, false, right? So it's not a beta, okay? Now let's work on the section 3, okay, section 3. So let's talk about the disease, nervous diseases. So the first is the meningitis. So meningitis is very it's a very important disease for human. Okay. So actually, so the symptoms of meningitis is about the same. Okay, and no matter what kind of microorganism cause the meningitis. Okay. So because there are tons of microorganisms cause meningitis, okay. However, the symptoms is the same because once they cause the meninges infections, so the meningitis, so the meningitis has the same symptoms. So the pathogens could be the bacteria. Okay, the bacteria invade the nervous system and cause the infections. So most of the bacteria invade the nervous system through the respiratory tract. Okay. Also, the virus can cause meningitis. So meningitis can burst out in all the age of the old age human, okay, such as in neonate, okay, and in the children and adults. However, the pathogens are different, okay. So the pathogens for the meningitis in neonates are different from pathogens of the meningitis in the children and adults. That's because the neonates, so the immune system of the neonate is very weak, is immature. Okay, so so that will be easier for some pathogens to cause the meningitis. However, for the children and adults, so their immune system are very strong and matured. So only a few microbes can cause problem. No. So the diagnosis is lumbar puncture. Okay, whatever puncture spinal tap. So we puncture between the lumbar vertebra. So we drain some volume of the cerebral spinal fluid. So we can do the gram staining, okay, gram staining and culture of the fluid, okay. So if the white blood cells is very high or the liquid is very cloudy, so that means bacterial infections, okay. So for the bacterial infections, so we can administer the antibiotics, okay. So we can treat with antibiotics immediately. We cannot wait because since this is nervous system infections, it could be fatal. Okay. So the symptoms for the meningitis are same for all the microbes infections, such as headache. Okay, headache, and stiff neck. Stiff neck is the character symptom for the meningitis. Okay. And painful neck, painful and stiff neck is specific for the meningitis. If the patient complains these symptoms, so it's highly suspected meningitis. Fever, since this is infections cause fever, nausea and vomiting. Okay, it's a nervous symptom. Okay, because infection, headache, nausea, vomiting. So that's due to the increase of the pressure in the skull. Okay. Photophobia, sensitive. Okay. Skin rash. Okay, skin rash. So increase lymphocytes in the CSF. Now let's talk about the microbes one by one. So the first is Neisseria meningitidis. So Neisseria is gram-negative diplococci. So it is known as meningococcus. So this is also so this causes the meningitis. Okay, so it can cause serious meningitis. Okay, acute meningitis. So 15–20% of meningitis are caused by the Neisseria. So this happened in the youth. Okay, young children. Okay. So the vaccine is because vaccine will start age 11. So there are 12 different capsules. Okay, B, C, Y. Okay, are most responsible for the infections. Neisseria. So the bacteria actually invade the patients through the respiratory tract. So the respiratory tract, okay, and then get into the bloodstream. So so the pathogen will reach to the nervous system through the bloodstream. Since the Neisseria has a huge capsule, okay, so the capsule actually is the pathogen to cause all the symptoms. So it can also release the endotoxin. Okay, endotoxin can cause fevers. Okay, can cause fevers. It can also cause circulation system symptoms. Okay, such as rash. Okay, so it can damage the blood vessels and release cytokines to cause vascular collapse and hemorrhage. Petechia. Petechia means the hemorrhage skin rash. Okay, on the trunk and limbs. Okay. So actually, so the Neisseria can cause high mortality rate. Okay, it can kill many people. So it can produce LGA protease. So the symptoms, since this is infections, can cause fever. Okay, it release the endotoxin, so the fever is very high, because it release endotoxin. Okay, so through because this bacteria invaded the respiratory tract firstly, right? So the patient has the upper respiratory tract symptoms. Cheer, so this is related to fever, high fever. If a patient has high fever, so it will fear. So they will fear chills, delirium. So this is nervous system things. So the nervous functions is damaged. So the patient has delirium. Okay. Bleeding, or the petechia, shock, because the vascular system is collapsed, it's damaged, so patient have the low blood pressure, coma, okay, cause coma. So the intravascular clotting. So this is actually called DIC, okay, DIC, disseminated intracellular coagulation, okay. So this is a very acute emergency state, okay. So if patient have the intravascular clotting, so it will cause very high mortality. So we have treated the patient in the ICU, okay, in the ICU. So most patients will die. So this is very acute emergency case. So it can directly cause heart failure, okay, cardiac failure. If patient have cardiac failure, 70% case will die, okay. So damage DIC can also damage the adrenal glands. So the patient will have acute stress syndrome, okay. So the steroid level will decline, okay. So actually when patient have the DIC, it can die very quickly, okay, just a few hours. So this means this disease is very severe and horrible, okay. So Neisseria meningitidis, so the bacteria do not survive long in the environment, okay. So they have to find their host, okay. So since the transmission is through the respiratory tract, so the respiratory droplets and the secretion is the most important transmission route, okay. So, such as the patient can cough, can spread the droplets. So if the other people breathe in the droplets, so they may get this disease. So it is so this disease bursts out in the late winter and early early spring. It's in the colder seasons. Okay, in the cold seasons. So the reservoir is the human. Okay, the human. So the bacteria can exist, can live in the nasopharynx. Okay, they can live in the nasopharynx. So this so the scientists believe that so the closed environment such as the classroom, daycare, and college dorm, military barrack. So they are the environment that cause high transmission. Okay, because so the people are crowded in this very limited space environment, so it can increase the rate of the transmission. However, if the students or people's play in the playground, so this is open environment, so the transmission rate is very low. Okay, so that's why this disease is so this disease highly bursts out in the school, college, daycare, okay, in the military base, okay, or family, okay. So for that means we have to pay attention for those for those people, okay, such as students, military members, okay. So they are the people's they are the peoples who are highly vulnerable to this to the Neisseria meningitis. So high risk people would be the young children, and the young adults, because most of them are the students, okay? Students in the daycare, students in the elementary school, students in the college. So there are also the young soldiers in the military base. So they are the people, they are the high risk people. So if a patient gets this disease, actually this is a medical emergency, okay? Medical emergency, we have to administer this patient inpatient, okay? Inpatient of the hospital, okay? So we can do the test for diagnosis, okay? So we have treated the patient immediately, okay, and closely observe the patient. If the DIC happened, so we have to deliver them to the ICU. So we have to make a differential diagnosis to rule out the Neisseria meningitis, because this is very fatal. This is very fatal. Okay, it's very fatal. Okay. So we can do the CSF test. Okay. So we can observe the samples to look for the diplococci. So if we found the diplococci, so this is Neisseria, okay? This is Neisseria. We can also detect the polysaccharide of capsule polysaccharide to make a diagnosis, okay? We can also culture the samples in the tire martin or chocolate agar plates. So if the colony grows on the agar, so that means those are the Neisseria. So the infection rate is 1%. So the Neisseria meningitis has a mortality rate of 15%. So 15% is very high. Okay, 15% is very high. So we have to treat the patient with antibiotics. Okay, as soon as possible. We have to give the patient antibiotics immediately. High dose penicillin. So we cannot wait the treatment. So we cannot wait. So we cannot wait for the test results. Okay. So we have started the antibiotic treatment even we don't have the test result yet. Okay, we cannot wait for the test result. So the shock and DIC, we have to closely observe the patients, and give the patients plenty of fluid to prevent the shock, or the medications to anti the coagulation. Okay. So the DIC, if patient with the DIC, so most of the patient will die. Okay, most of the case will die. So if the diagnosis is confirmed, so we have to report this case to the public health department and the CDC, so they can invest the close contact peoples and shut down the school. Okay, shut down the school. So all the people, all the suspected people with close contact with the patients should be receive preventional treatment. Okay, with rifampin or the tetracycline. Okay, even those people don't have any symptoms, so we can still give them antibiotics for the preventional therapy. Okay, we cannot allow the symptoms burst out because if the patient because the disease develops very quickly. Then let's talk about the Streptococcus pneumonia. So this microbe can also cause meningitis. So this microbe also invade the people through the respiratory tract. Okay, so this is gram-positive flattened coccus. Okay, attached one by one, so end to end. So this is cause the community acquired meningitis. So it can also cause the bacterial pneumonia because actually this is a bacteria that causes pneumonia. Okay. So 25% of patients with meningitis will also have the pneumonia. Okay. So this microbe has polysaccharide capsule. Okay, so the capsule actually is a very important structure to protect the bacteria from phagocytosis or the antibiotics killing. Okay, so this microbe can also release alpha hemolysin and hydrogen peroxide. So those chemicals can damage the nervous system. So it can cause the brain cells, neurons apoptosis, can kill the neurons. So the transmission route is through the respiratory tract mucosa and get into the bloodstream and then reach to the meninges. So the treatment is penicillin. Okay. However, since we have used penicillin for a long time, so many cases has penicillin resistance. Okay, so now the initial treatment is vancomycin plus ceftriaxone. Okay, ceftriaxone. However, in this patient, we have to do the bacteria culture. Okay, and do the drug sensitive test. So if we found the bacteria is still sensitive to the penicillin, so we can still use the penicillin for the treatment. Okay. So we also have the vaccine available to prevent this disease. We have two. One is the Prevnar. Okay, Prevnar. Another is the Pneumovax. So the Prevnar is for the children. Pneumovax is for the adults. Now let's talk about the Haemophilus influenza. So it can cause severe form of the meningitis. So in America, this is serotype B strain caused the problem. So in America, actually, this kind of case is declined because the vaccine is widely introduced since 1988. Okay. So if people didn't get the vaccine, they may have the problem. Okay. So so in the world, so this disease is still widely is still widely common in the world, especially in the developing country. Listeria monocytogenes. Okay, Listeria is the gram-positive bacterium. So the range is from Coccobacilli to the long filament. So we can see. So this is the Coccobacilli. This is what I mean, the Coccobacilli. Okay, Coccobacilli. So it's like a coccus. I mean, some has like a bacillus. So the bacteria has 1 to 4 flagella. So the bacteria is resistant to the cold, heat, and the other extreme conditions and bias. Okay, that means they can survive. Through the GI tract. So they can grow, live in the host cells, can invade the agent cells, and spread. So the symptoms would be the fever, diarrhea, sore throat. So especially for the old people, fetus, very young people, and the people with immunocompromised state such as diabetes, HIV, and the patient using the steroid, so they can get this kind of infections. This bacteria can also cause septicemia. Okay, septicemia is very emergency state, so we have to treat the patient with antibiotics because septicemia can cause high mortality rate. Okay, so that rate is 20%. Is very high. 20% is very high. Okay, yeah, because septicemia. So the pregnant woman are susceptible. Okay, because this bacteria can cross the placenta to cause fetus infections. Okay, it can also transmit to the neonates through the birth canal. So the intrauterine infection can cause abortion or the fetal death. Okay, stillbirth. So the reservoir is soil, water. So that means all the animal, plants, and food can be contaminated. Okay, can be contaminated. So for the patients, so most of the cases actually get the transmission through the contaminated food, like the dairy products. Okay, the milk, okay, the poultry, the chicken meat, chicken eggs, okay. So that's why so we have to cook. We have to properly cook the food, okay. So we can see 10% actually from the beef, 20-30% from chicken, turkey, okay. 10 to 5 to 10% of luncheon meat, hot dogs, and cheese. So actually, so this type of listeria actually can live in the cold environments. So so if we use the culture method to isolate this bacteria for the diagnosis, we can use the cold enrichment method. Okay, that means we can